It doesn't begin with motivation. It begins with confrontation. A mirror. And in that mirror, you see not who you are, but the ghost of who you were supposed to be. You don't recognize yourself anymore. Not because you've changed, but because you've conformed. Somewhere along the way, you traded authenticity for safety. You learned to smile when you wanted to scream. You learned to fit in when your soul wanted to rebel. And every time you said it's fine when it wasn't, a small part of you died quietly. The world didn't kill your fire, you extinguished it to keep others warm. Nietzsche understood this tragedy better than most. He didn't write for comfort seekers or those searching for external approval. He wrote for those who dared to look directly into the chaos of life and refused to flinch. He wrote for the few who would rather face the terror of truth than the narcotic of comfort. He said that man must become who he truly is, not what society tells him to be, not what his culture demands, not what his fear allows. But here's the paradox. You can't become who you are if you're addicted to being liked. You can't evolve if your first instinct is to conform. And you can't be strong if you're constantly apologizing for existing. We live in a world that celebrates weakness disguised as morality. It teaches you to suppress your instincts, to be endlessly agreeable, to silence the very voice inside that whispers, "I want more." They call your passion arrogance. They call your independence rebellion. They call your self-respect selfishness. And slowly, you start believing them. You start dimming your light just to make others comfortable in their shadows. Until one day, you wake up surrounded by people who don't even know you because you've never shown them who you really are. That's the lie you've been living. That strength is found in politeness. That peace is found in avoidance. That goodness is found in weakness. But Nietzsche would say the opposite. He would say that real peace comes only from power, the power to face reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. The power to speak truth even when your voice shakes. The power to be alone if it means staying true to your soul. Because when you live in lies long enough, you forget what truth even feels like. And in that forgetting, you call your submission balance, your hesitation wisdom, your fear humility. But deep down, you were not made to obey. You were made to become. And that journey begins the moment you stop lying to yourself. What does it mean to be weak? Most people think weakness is softness, that it's being emotional, sensitive, uncertain. But Nietzsche would tell you, weakness isn't about feeling too much. It's about fearing yourself. Weakness is emotional submission. It's outsourcing your worth to others. It's needing permission to exist. It's not the absence of strength, it's the betrayal of self. And this world is engineered to make that betrayal feel normal. Your education trains you to obey, not to think. Your workplace rewards you for fitting in, not standing out. Your culture praises you for being agreeable, not authentic. You've been domesticated, tamed, conditioned to mistake compliance for compassion, tolerance for virtue, and silence for peace. You've been told that being good means never making anyone uncomfortable. But Nietzsche would laugh at that. He'd call it spiritual anesthesia. Because the truth is this, the world doesn't want you strong. Strong people can't be manipulated. Strong people don't beg for validation. Strong people don't need to be told who they are. And that kind of person, the sovereign individual, terrifies society. So instead, you're taught to apologize for your intensity. to water yourself down so you can fit into the glass of mediocrity everyone else is sipping from. You say, I don't want to cause problems. But your very existence was meant to disrupt stagnation. You say, I just want to be nice. But niceness without honesty is just cowardice with a smile. Weakness is what happens when you lose touch with your instincts. When you stop listening to that primal voice inside that says fight. Not fight others, fight your own decay. And here's the harsh truth Nietzsche forces you to face. Most people don't actually want freedom, because freedom demands responsibility. And responsibility demands strength. So they prefer to stay weak because weakness offers comfort. You can hide behind excuses. You can stay in your bubble. You can blame the world for the very cage you built around yourself. But if you dare to look closer, you'll see it, the invisible chains you wear every day. The chains of fear, people-pleasing, approval, distraction. Every notification you check before thinking. Every yes you give when your soul screams no. Every time you call your resignation peace. That's weakness. Not emotion, not tears. But the quiet daily surrender of your will to the noise around you. And Nietzsche's philosophy? It's a call to war, not with others, but with that weakness. Because until you reclaim the right to think, feel, and act for yourself, you will never know what strength actually feels like. Nietzsche didn't write to inspire comfort. He wrote to awaken chaos. He believed that the greatest danger in life isn't pain or suffering. It's stagnation. He warned us about the slow death that comes when man stops striving, stops questioning, stops becoming. He called it the last man. The final form of humanity, safe, comfortable, obedient, and utterly empty. The last man doesn't dream. He scrolls. He doesn't think. He consumes. He doesn't suffer because he's too numb to feel. He's the product of a world that has made mediocrity a virtue. Nietzsche saw this future, a society of people who would rather be entertained than enlightened, comfortable rather than courageous. He saw a generation trading their souls for convenience. And he warned, beware when you feel most comfortable, for that's when your spirit begins to die. The truth Nietzsche tried to teach is that life is not meant to be easy. It's meant to be meaningful. And meaning is born only through struggle, through responsibility, through the courageous confrontation with chaos. He said one must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star. Think about that. Without chaos, without inner conflict, without discomfort, without resistance, you remain ordinary. But when you confront your chaos, when you wrestle with your demons instead of denying them, you create something divine. You become the sculptor of your soul. That's what Nietzsche meant by the Übermensch, not a godlike figure or a tyrant, but a human who transcends their limitations, who creates their own values, who refuses to live as a victim of circumstance. You see, most people live reacting to the world. The strong create worlds of their own. Most people wait for permission. The strong act as if they already have it. Most people seek truth in books and teachers. The strong carve it from the chaos of their own suffering. Nietzsche didn't promise comfort. He promised transformation, but only to those brave enough to endure the pain of becoming. Because to grow, something in you must die. Your comfort, your pride, your false certainty. Every stage of evolution demands a sacrifice. And those who refuse to sacrifice stay small forever. So ask yourself, are you living or are you just avoiding pain? Because the truth Nietzsche tried to teach is simple. If you avoid pain, you avoid power. If you avoid chaos, you avoid creation. And if you avoid responsibility, you avoid becoming who you were meant to be. Transformation is not a single act, it's a lifetime of confrontation. Every day you wake up at war, not with the world, but with yourself. The weaker version of you wants comfort, predictability, distraction. The stronger version demands discipline, purpose, creation. And whichever one you feed, that's who you become. The path of becoming is not paved with motivation. It's paved with self-honesty. With looking in the mirror and admitting, I'm not yet who I could be. That's not self-hate, that's self-respect. You can't change what you refuse to confront. And you can't confront what you constantly distract yourself from. So Nietzsche's path begins where excuses end. When you stop blaming society, your parents, your past, your trauma, and take full ownership of your existence. He said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." That why, your purpose, is your anchor through the storm. Without it, life becomes unbearable. With it, even suffering becomes sacred. You start to realize that pain isn't punishment, it's preparation. That failure isn't final, it's feedback. That chaos isn't the enemy, it's the crucible of growth. Every obstacle, every heartbreak, every betrayal, it's all part of your becoming. Because strength doesn't appear out of comfort, it's forged in the fire of struggle. Nietzsche would tell you, stop chasing happiness. Happiness is a byproduct, not a pursuit. It emerges when you live in alignment with your potential, when your daily actions reflect your highest values. And those values, they are not found in trends or in applause. They're found in solitude, in the quiet, brutal honesty of asking, what am I avoiding? What am I capable of? What do I fear becoming if I keep living like this? The path to becoming demands you leave behind what's familiar, even parts of yourself. Your comfort zone is your coffin. And every step beyond it feels like death, but it's really rebirth. Because you're not meant to remain the same. You're meant to evolve, to become a creator of meaning in a meaningless world. To rise above the noise and say, I will not be tamed. And now you stand at a crossroads. On one side, comfort, safety, the slow decay of potential. On the other, chaos, risk, uncertainty, but also truth, growth, and power. Most will choose the first path. They'll stay small because it's familiar. They'll stay silent because it's safe. They'll trade their soul for approval and call it peace. But if you've listened this far, you're not like most. There's something inside you, a whisper that refuses to die. A voice that says there's more to me than this. That voice is your soul, calling you to rise. Nietzsche would tell you life is not a question to be answered. It's a challenge to be overcome. And every time you rise from your own ashes, you prove that the human spirit cannot be defeated. You will be misunderstood. You will be judged. You will lose people who cannot handle your growth. But you will find something far greater, yourself. Because in the end, no one saves you. You save yourself. Through courage. Through truth. Through relentless self-confrontation. When the world tells you to shrink, you stand taller. When it demands silence, you speak louder. When it celebrates weakness, you embody strength. That's what it means to rise above. To reject the mediocrity you were taught to accept. To take the chaos within you, the pain, the doubt, the rage, and forge it into purpose. To transform every scar into wisdom, every failure into power, every wound into light. You will fall. You will fail. You will bleed.
But you will not break, because breaking is the birthplace of transformation.
So rise. Not for the world's approval. Not for recognition. But because you finally remembered who you are. The one who dares to confront truth. The one who turns pain into art. The one who walks through chaos and comes out radiant.
That's the real strength Nietzsche spoke of, the strength to become your own hero. And when you finally stand there, not needing validation, not begging for love, not fearing rejection, that's when you've transcended.
You've risen above.
And in that moment, the world will no longer control you, because you will have mastered the only thing that ever mattered.
Yourself.